Hi everyone, it's Julie from GameSalad. Welcome to the Teacher Quick Start Guide. This video will give you the essentials for getting started with GameSalad for Education web platform. We're going to go over main teacher resources, access to the student view by joining your own class as a student, how to assign projects to your students so they can begin working, how to invite students to join your class so they'll see their projects in their creator when they open it, and how to manage your roster online. GameSalad is generally suited for students 6th grade and older. Our visual programming interface is commonly used by middle school, high school, and university students. It really depends on what type of prior coding experience the students have and what the goals of your specific class are. So GameSalad is a great introduction to coding that does not overwhelm young learners, yet it's sophisticated enough for older students who have not been introduced to programming concepts yet and need a place to start. You can also use the platform for game design courses, where the objective is creating original concept games or rapidly prototyping games to test their concepts, rather than spending time coding in a specific programming language. It's often used in art classes that are game design classes, where students are creating their own original art in other platforms and importing them to original games they design in GameSalad. It even works well for classes with beginning and advanced students in the same room. GameSalad offers you the entire platform so you can adjust your focus to the needs of your class. There is a lot of information online about GameSalad. For GameSalad education instructors specifically, we've concentrated resources for you into two main sites. The instructor guide at gamesalad.com/instructor guide contains getting started information and best practices. The support page is where you can contact the support team, as well as find answers to common FAQs from our teachers. You can also stop by the curriculum page to get a high-level overview of which computer science concepts are covered in which of our project units. So let's talk about actually using the platform. All teachers and students log in at creator.gamesalad.com. GameSalad Online Creator can be accessed from laptops, desktops, or Chromebooks with at least 2 gigs of RAM. The platform should be opened using Chrome browser or Firefox works as well. One of the first things to check when helping a student is that they should be logged in using Chrome for optimal performance of the editor. Now, the first time a student joins your class, they're going to navigate to a special join URL with an invite code in order to get linked into your class. But after joining the first time, they'll always just access creator.gamesalad.com. On the support page, you'll find links to short videos that you can actually send your students that will walk them through the join class process using either a GameSalad login or a Google login. I'll go ahead and get signed in here. Now, teachers, you will have a toggle at the top of your creator that takes you over to your teacher dashboard. Technically, the dashboard URL is classroom.gamesalad.com, but you don't need to remember that because you can always get there from creator.gamesalad.com. The student view is always the creator side or the purple side. When you assign projects to your class, the students who have joined the class will also have an assignments tab where those project tutorials appear. Now, the best way for you to understand the editor interface that your students will be using is to actually use it in the same way that they are going to learn it by building the first project, which is the monster maze. In order to streamline things, I'm not going to teach you the editor interface in this video, but it's actually pretty straightforward once you get the layout and the navigation. There are two ways you as a teacher can complete the monster maze lesson. The first way is to follow the exact same steps your student will be using, which would be to work through this tutorial here, right inside the creator. And I'm going to show you how you would assign that to yourself in a minute. The other way is to watch and follow along with the teacher training webinar that we've created. You can actually find a link to that webinar here under the instructor guide in the Understanding the Creator Interface section. The webinar here is oriented for teachers, so our trainer points out additional information that's helpful to know as a teacher who's going to be helping students complete these projects. So as a teacher, the first thing you'll want to do is hop over to your dashboard and add a class. The dashboard is the blue side of the Creator, and it's only visible to teachers. Your students will need to join a GameSalad class in order to receive assignments from you in their Creator. So you'll click the plus sign, name the class, and click Create. I'm going to use my demo class here that I've already created. So the most useful thing for you to do here is actually to first join your class as a student. That way you can see the assignments that you have assigned to your class. Right on the Info tab is the invite code. You can click the code, which will copy the URL to your browser so that you're ready to paste it. When you're inviting yourself to join, you'll paste it into your browser into a new tab. When you're inviting your students to join, you're going to paste the code into an email or another shared board that they access. However you normally send information to your students, you'll send them the invite code. Then they will paste that into a tab in their browser. Paste the URL into a new tab in your browser and follow the instructions to join your class as a student. You are already signed in to GameSalad, so it will not ask you to create an account or to sign in. Your students are going to be shown additional screens during their invite process to help them create their GameSalad account at the same time that they are doing this. You can see those screens when you watch the videos for the student join class process over on the support page. Since I'm already enrolled in this class, I'll click back to making games, which will put me back in my creator. When you navigate back to the dashboard and open your class, you'll see that you are now listed as a student in the class. And also notice that this will not change the number of student GameSalad licenses that are available to you because GameSalad recognizes your instructor license already has an active subscription to the creator. The invite code URL is also found at the bottom of the class roster under this Invite Student button. And you can again click it to copy it to your browser that way. I'll open a new window and paste in the invite URL so that you can see what your students join page is going to look like when you invite them. There is a short join walkthrough video which you can send them at the same time you send the invite URL so they can see all the steps and how to proceed through them. You can find those videos on the support page, and as the teacher, you will first decide which sign-in option you want your class to use. Sign in with GameSalad or sign in with Google. Sign in with GameSalad will allow them to create a GameSalad account that's not tied to any other login. They do have to enter an email address in this process, but the email address can be made up or a fake or placeholder email. And GameSalad does not email students or require the email to be verified. It just has to be a login that's in the format of an email address. You can also choose sign in with Google instead if you want your students to use their existing Google accounts. This does not connect GameSalad to Google Classroom. It is only the single sign-on through Google feature at this time. Before using the Clever sign-in option, you'd want to coordinate with GameSalad because the Clever portal requires setup from both the school administration and the GameSalad side as well. So let's go back over to the dashboard. In the dashboard, I'd like to show you the Roster tab. The Roster tab is where your students will appear in the list as they join your class. You have bulk actions here where you can update all of the students at once. As the instructor, you also have complete control over the information that's in these fields. You can update the name, you can update the username, the email address, and even the password. When you change the information and click Save, it will change their actual GameSalad login information. For the password field, if the eyeball is clear, you can actually view the password that's already there in order to remind the student of what it is. If the eyeball has a slash through it, you can't see what their existing password is, but you can still update it to a new one if the student has forgotten it. So you type something in and it looks like the information went away, but if you click Save, you'll see that actually you were able to update that password. The name field is only visible to you right here in your dashboard. The name appears in the left column so you can easily tell your students apart when you're navigating this way. If the name field is blank, then the username appears instead. The username field is a public field, as is typical with most online platforms. So if the student posts anything using their GameSalad account to the web, their username will appear associated with that post. As you can see, all of these fields can be completely anonymous. So as these students are here with no personally identifiable information in them, GameSalad does give that option. Okay, so the last thing you'll need to do before your students can begin working on their project is give them an assignment. In GameSalad, you give an assignment to the entire class. So right now I'm in my demo class. I'll go to the Curriculum tab. The entire class gets an assignment rather than an individual student. So if you want different students to have different assignments than each other, you would put them into different GameSalad classes and then assign the classes different assignments. The student only sees the name of the class when they are joining for the first time to the class. Other than that, they just see their assignment list in their tab. So to go ahead and assign, you'll want to go ahead and assign a tutorial to your class before you actually invite the students to join, so that once your students do join the class, they'll see their first assignment waiting for them. Let's look over here on the curriculum overview to talk about which unit to begin with. Wizard Run is a pre-built game. It does not have any videos with it. It's a written tour of the interface where you're mostly just looking and reading, but you're not making anything as you read. If you're teaching in a classroom, this would be a great teacher-led assignment where you're sharing your screen with the class and you're walking them through the tutorial yourself. That way you're giving the tour and they're following along on their own computers. However, especially for distance learning or for students who are going to be looking to be engaged right away, you can go ahead and assign the Monster Maze. Monster Maze is much more engaging from the beginning. It also includes all of the introductory information where the tutorial explains the GameSalad interface to the student as they're actively building a game. Monster Maze also has videos in addition to the written instructions, as do all of the subsequent game units for those learners who like that video format. If you're in a classroom, you can also choose to build the Monster Maze together as a first teacher-led unit. So back on the dashboard, click to open the unit you want to assign and click the Assignments tab. Here you have the option to assign either the entire tutorial at once or break it up into smaller sections and assign them a few at a time. This also depends on your students and your teaching style. Some teachers will want to assign all of it at once, and some will want to control the pace so that students aren't either tempted to jump ahead too fast and they can concentrate on one thing at a time, or so that they do not feel overwhelmed. For distance learning, if your students are new to a remote learning environment, a best practice might be to begin with a short assignment and then check in with them to see how they're doing or how long it's taking them to complete it, and then adjust the pace of your assignments from there. For now, let's assign parts 1 and 2. So if I click on myself as a student, I can see that I now have part 1 and part 2 assigned to me. And if I'm in my creator side, I'll see that as well. Parts 1 and 2 now appear in my assignments drawer, and I can begin working and building the monster maze. Thank you for taking the time to watch this quick start guide. I hope you found it useful to get you up and running with the GameSalad web platform. Please do watch the best practices video as well, because we're going to cover the rest of the tabs and the curriculum units, as well as best practices for fully leveraging the GameSalad interface from an education perspective, so that you and your students get the most out of the curriculum. Thank you again for being a GameSalad instructor. We are excited to have you teaching with us. Take care and have a great day.